Hey folks, Dale Davidson here, the VA guy. Glad you're here today. Look, if you like what we're doing here, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get notified when we do these videos. We're trying to do them a couple of each month, and we're here to support our veterans and the spouses of our veterans. So again, like and subscribe. So today's video is about Agent Orange, okay? So the VA has denied most disability claims by Vietnam veterans for 3 conditions associated with exposure to Agent Orange. Say it ain't so. Come on now, VA. Get on board and let's get these veterans and their spouses the benefits they need. So what has happened is this general accountability report stems from Operation Ranch Hand. If you were in Vietnam, you probably know what Operation Ranch Hand is. That was the United States military herbicide operation during the Vietnam War from 62 to 71, I think it was. So this was part of what they refer to as Operation Trail Dust. So that was the overall herbicidal warfare program for the United States government. What happened is Ranch Hand involved spraying, it was about 19 million gallons of defoliants, Agent Orange and herbicides, over the rural areas of South Vietnam. Again, the herbicides were done to get rid of wherever the Viet Cong or the enemy was hiding, okay? So that's why they were doing it. Kind of a funny story. I guess it's not really, well, it's a little funny story. At a dig at Smokey the Bear, the ranch handers' motto was, only you can prevent a forest, instead of only you can prevent a forest fire. So anyway, so over 5 million acres of forest and about 500,000 acres of crops were damaged or destroyed during this, okay? So that was about 20% of the forest of South Vietnam. That's a big area. So these herbicides were sprayed using the Fairchild C-123s, using the call sign Hades, okay? So these planes were filled with these specially designed spray tanks, and they had a capacity of about 1,000 gallons. So what they would do is they would have 4 or 5 planes together, and then they'd start spraying. Each plane sprayed about 262 feet wide, and it was a 10-mile swath, okay? And it lasted about 4.5 minutes. So that was a lot of spraying done. There's been several General Accounting Office studies of the government's role for these herbicides, and where the GAO, showed that the VA had been slow to publish findings. Imagine that. The VA is slow because they got caught doing something they weren't really supposed to be doing. Anyway, and the VA was unwilling, meaning they didn't want to share the data because they knew what the data was all about, and they didn't want to be exposed for what they had been doing. And the VA was also resistant to congressional inquiry. Well, if I'm in Congress, and I don't ever want to be in politics, but if I was in Congress and I wanted some information from a department and they were resistant to give that information to me, I mean, doesn't Congress have the power of the purse? Cut them off. But that has not happened. It never happens. They threaten, but the government never does anything. So the Ranch Hand study has been consistently criticized for both its scientific and administrative shortfalls, okay? Many believe that this Ranch Hand study will never amount to anything, and it probably won't, knowing the government. So the government now presumes that there's 15 illnesses that are service-connected as it relates to Vietnam veterans that were exposed to Agent Orange. Remember, there are other areas other than Vietnam that you could be exposed, for instance, Thailand and some Air Force bases around there. But here's a few of the 15 presumptive illnesses. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's disease, and lung cancer. Okay, so those are just a few of the 15 presumed illnesses. But the VA, and we're talking decades. Okay, 1974, 75 is when 76 maybe, when the Vietnam War ended, but they had been spraying this stuff since 62. Okay, so the VA, the military, knew the problems with all these herbicides. They knew the problems with Agent Orange. So for decades, the VA denied a lot of disability claims by veterans, by Vietnam veterans, okay, for three conditions related to Agent Orange. One is a nerve damage, skin cyst, and blistering. Now, I have veterans that I have helped with their Agent Orange claims. And if you have a claim and you need some help, shoot us an email at dearvaguy@gmail.com, dearvaguy@gmail.com, and we'll be glad to help you. The VA had this 1 year requirement. Said the VA insisted that your blistering or your skin cyst or your nerve damages had to have manifest within 1 year of your service in Vietnam in order for the VA to presume that there's a connection between you being sprayed with Agent Orange and those conditions. Now, hold your horses, folks. Nobody knows how these conditions are manifested. I mean, how can you measure 1 year out? If you're in Vietnam, I mean, there's a lot of conditions that manifest themselves years and years and decades afterwards that are associated with Agent Orange. So the VA has just picked out nerve damage, skin cyst, and blistering as you got to have this manifest within 1 year. It doesn't make sense to me because it can take years to manifest conditions that are associated with Agent Orange. So in the new report, the GAO says that the VA claims processors didn't consistently understand what evidence could be used to support the connection. And so because they didn't consistently understand, they were wrongly denying benefits to some veterans. Well, how do you consistently not understand your job? Okay? That goes to, seems to me, a lack of training of these VA processors, these Agent Orange processors. So the GAO discovered these inconsistencies, they called them, with those claims processors that are, again, they're tasked with reviewing the medical evidence, and they didn't always rely on evidence that was allowable. So normally in our practice, we would submit medical evidence from the doctors who are treating the veteran for whatever the condition may be. And we discuss with the doctors the VA requirements. And so we try to make sure that our doctors know that the medical evidence we submit is going to be scrutinized by the VA. And so we need to make sure that what we submit is correct. And so if we're submitting the correct things, but the VA processors are not understanding what evidence we are submitting, then why are they even processing? Why are they even in that position? Don't know. So how long does this happen? For decades, okay? How do these claim processors get it so wrong for so long? That's the question that nobody has been able to answer. So the VA estimates are that 8% of the veterans, the Vietnam veterans who received DIC, that disability indemnity comp, for those three conditions, nerve damage, skin cyst, or blistering, about 8% of those who applied were granted benefits by the VA. So of the approximately 130,000 people, veterans that applied for benefits based upon these conditions, only 11,000 were granted benefits. So then the other 119,000, 120,000 veterans have been denied benefits for decades and decades. Some of those veterans aren't with us anymore. That's the problem with the VA, it takes so long to get it through their thick skulls as to what needs to be done for our veterans and what needs to be done for our spouses of our veterans to get them the benefits that they deserve. So the GAO determined that the claims processors didn't know when the 1 year requirement started. That's training. Why weren't these people properly trained as to when that 1 year period started? And what types of medical evidence were required? Dermatologists, as far as the blistering and skin cyst, other kind of doctors, neurologists with respect to the nerve damage. If we can get our doctors to say it's more likely than not that the blistering and the skin cyst and the nerve damage was caused by this Vietnam veteran's exposure to Agent Orange, then what more do you need? So, kind of recapping here a little bit, we got this 1 year manifestation period requirement for those three conditions: nerve damage, skin cyst, and blistering. Okay. Now, if the VA would remove that's going to cost a lot of money, right? Because we got benefits that are paid back or should be paid back retroactive. Okay. So that could cost the VA anywhere from 16 to 25 billion. Oh, what's a billion here and there when we're taking care of our veterans? We spend more on that shipping stuff to foreign aid, okay? I'm not going to get political here today. But anyway, that estimate I just gave you of 16 to 25 billion, would include disability payments of about 13 billion to 18 billion. They estimate there's about 130 to probably 215,000 Vietnam veterans that have been denied benefits. In closing, let's hope that these claim processors in the future make accurate decisions, but that takes training, and more training. It's very, very clear that the VA claims processors are lacking the training. So anyway, we hope that this video has been helpful to you. We love our veterans. We love our spouses of our veterans. If you have any questions, leave us a comment below, or you can send me an email at dearvaguy@gmail.com, dearvaguy@gmail.com. As always, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so that when we put out our new videos, that you can be alerted. Thank you for your service, okay? And thank you for you, the spouses who also sacrificed. So until next time, be blessed.
No more whiskey, I'll have a Coke. Catching bass on an old fishing boat. One more story.